The black sphere sat in the middle of the excavation site like a giant marble made of night itself. Dr. Minho Kang wiped the sweat from his forehead and stared at it for the 1,000th time. 18 months. 18 months of digging, scanning, testing, and absolutely nothing to show for it. Still talking to yourself? Hannah Park walked up beside him, carrying 2 cups of coffee. She handed him one and smiled. You know it can't hear you, right? Minho took the coffee gratefully. After today's ceremony, I'm starting to think nothing can wake this thing up. They both looked at the sphere. It was massive, 50 meters across, perfectly smooth, except for the strange symbols carved into its surface. The symbols moved sometimes, shifting when no one was looking directly at them. Every species in the Galactic Coalition had tried to study it. The insect-like Vryn brought their best scientists. The crystal beings called Talok sang their ancient songs at it. The shape-shifting Morphians tried to communicate in 1,000 different ways. Nothing worked. The high researcher seemed confident this time, Hannah said, though her voice suggested she didn't believe it. Minho laughed bitterly. The high researcher is always confident. Did you see his face when the artifact didn't respond? I thought his antennae were going to fall off. No, the ceremony had been a disaster. The Vryn had brought some kind of energy device that was supposed to match the artifact's frequency. Instead, it just made a loud humming noise and gave everyone a headache. The high researcher had blamed human interference, of course. He always did. I'm going to file my report and get some sleep, Hannah said. Try not to stay up too late. Commander Do-hyun wants us at the briefing tomorrow morning at 6. 6? That's cruel. That's military time. Hannah patted his shoulder and walked away toward the temporary buildings that served as their base camp. Minho finished his coffee and looked around. The excavation site was quiet now. Most of the research team had gone to bed after the failed ceremony. A few security guards patrolled the perimeter, but they were far enough away that Minho felt alone with the sphere. He was so tired. Tired of the politics. Tired of the failures. Tired of alien researchers treating humans like they were barely smart enough to hold a shovel. Earth had only joined the Galactic Coalition 20 years ago. Humanity was still the new species. Still trying to prove they belonged among the stars. Minho walked closer to the sphere. The night air was cold on this dead planet, and his breath made small clouds. The artifact's surface was always cold, no matter what they did to it. It absorbed heat, light, and energy without giving anything back. You're a real pain, you know that? Minho said to the sphere. He knew it was stupid to talk to it, but he was alone and frustrated. 18 months. Do you know how long that is? My entire career is riding on this dig. Earth sent me here because they thought I could figure you out. Make humanity look good. Show we're not just the dumb kids who got invited to the adult table. The sphere didn't respond. Of course, it didn't. Minho put his hand on the cold surface. The symbols nearby seemed to shift slightly. But that might have been his tired eyes playing tricks. He'd seen them move before, always at the edge of his vision, never when he looked directly at them. I'm going to lose my funding, he continued, too tired to care how silly this was. The coalition is going to shut down this site in 3 months if we don't find something. Then, what? I go back to Earth and teach at some university? Tell students about the time I spent a year and a half staring at a giant space marble? His hand was getting numb from the cold, but he didn't move it. There was something almost comforting about the artifact's presence. It was old. Older than any civilization they'd ever discovered. The dating tests said it was over 2 billion years old. 2 billion years of sitting here, waiting for something. What are you waiting for? Minho asked quietly. Then, in Korean, the language of his childhood, he said with a tired laugh, Ya, 일어나. Hey, wake up. The sphere pulsed. Minho jumped back, his heart suddenly hammering. Had he imagined that? No, the artifact was glowing now, a soft blue light spreading across its surface like water. The symbols weren't just shifting anymore. They were moving, flowing, rearranging themselves into new patterns. "Oh no," Minho whispered. "Oh no, no, no." The light grew brighter. Alarms started blaring from the base camp. Minho could hear shouting, boots running on metal floors, the whine of security drones powering up. But he couldn't move. He was frozen, staring at the artifact as it came to life. The blue light concentrated into a beam that shot out and touched Minho's chest. It didn't hurt, but he could feel it scanning him, reading him, looking inside him in ways that made his skin crawl. Then the voice came. It wasn't sound exactly. It was in his head, in his bones, in every cell of his body. And it was speaking Korean, human, found. The voice was old. So old that Minho could feel the weight of ages in it, the loneliness of billions of years. It wasn't male or female. It was something else, entirely. Minho tried to speak, but his voice came out as a croak. The artifact's light pulsed brighter. Around him, he could hear more alarms, more shouting. People were running toward the excavation site. Hana was screaming his name. Commander Do-hyun was barking orders into his radio. The voice spoke again, and this time everyone in the camp heard it. It echoed in every mind, speaking each person's native language simultaneously. "Will you provide your bloodline?" "My what?" Minho managed to say. The beam of light intensified. Minho felt himself being pulled forward, lifted off his feet. The artifact was pulling him closer, scanning him more deeply. He could feel it looking at his DNA, his memories, his entire genetic history stretching back through his parents, his grandparents, his ancestors, back to the beginning of humanity itself. Images flashed through his mind. Ancient civilizations. Beings that looked almost human but not quite. Taller and different. A great exodus. Ships fleeing through space. Seeds planted on 1,000 worlds. A blue planet covered in water. "Earth, your bloodline," the voice said again. "Will you provide it?" Minho wanted to ask what that meant, wanted to understand what was happening. But the scanning was too intense. His vision started to blur. The world spun around him. The last thing he heard before darkness took him was Hana screaming, "Minho, someone help him." Then he felt himself falling, the artifact's light wrapping around him like a cocoon, and everything went black. When he hit the ground, the artifact fell silent. The light faded. The voice disappeared, but the sphere remained active, its surface still glowing softly, pulsing like a heartbeat. Waiting. Commander Do-hyun reached Minho first, checking his pulse. "He's alive! Get medical here now." Hana skidded to a stop beside them, tears streaming down her face. What did it do to him? What did it want? Above them, the artifact pulsed once more. On its surface, the symbols had rearranged into a new pattern, and if anyone had been able to read the ancient language of the architects, they would have known it said just one thing: Air confirmed, awaiting bloodline verification to unlock. The galaxy would never be the same. Minho woke up to white lights and the smell of antiseptic. His head felt like someone had stuffed it with cotton. When he tried to sit up, a gentle hand pushed him back down. "Easy," Hana said. Her eyes were red from crying. 3 days? Minho's throat was dry. What happened? Hana handed him a cup of water. "You tell me." "You touched the artifact, said something in Korean, and it came alive. Then it scanned you, and you collapsed." The memories came flooding back. The voice, the light, the question about his bloodline. Minho drank the water slowly, trying to process everything. "Is it still active?" he asked. "Yes. It's been waiting. Every few hours it pulses and repeats the same message. Awaiting bloodline verification." "Minho, what does it want from you?" Before he could answer, the door slid open. Commander Do-hyun Lee walked in. his military uniform crisp despite the early morning hour. Behind him came several coalition officials, including the Vrin High researcher, who looked deeply unhappy. "Dr. Kang," Do-hyun said formally. "We need to talk." The meeting room was crowded. Representatives from 6 different species sat around the table, all staring at Minho like he was a strange bug under a microscope. Hana sat beside him, her hand squeezing his under the table for support. "The artifact is asking for your blood," the Vrin High researcher said bluntly. "We need to understand why." "I don't know," Minho said honestly. "I just told it to wake up. I was making a joke that has caused a major diplomatic incident," a Taluk representative said. Its crystalline body chimed softly as it spoke. "Every major power in the galaxy has heard about this. They're asking questions, demanding access." Hana leaned forward. "Maybe I can help. I've been studying the artifact's language patterns since it activated. The symbols have completely changed. They're not random anymore, they're telling a story." She activated a holographic display. Images of the artifact's surface appeared, showing the flowing symbols. "The word it keeps using, bloodline, it's not just about genetics. It's about inheritance, legacy. The artifact is looking for someone specific, or, rather, someone from a specific genetic line." "The architects," Minho said suddenly. The word had come from the visions he'd seen. "That's what they called themselves." Everyone stared at him. "What else do you remember?" Do-hyun asked. Minho closed his eyes, trying to recall the images that had flashed through his mind. They looked almost human. Tall. Different somehow. But familiar. They had ships. They were leaving somewhere, running from something. And they planted seeds. Seeds? The Vrin researcher clicked his mandibles skeptically. "DNA," Hana breathed. They seeded DNA across the galaxy. Over the next week, Hana led a team of scientists in analyzing the artifact's messages and comparing them to the genetic databases of every known species. What they found shocked everyone. Every spacefaring species in the coalition evolved on high-gravity worlds, Hana explained at the next briefing. Dense atmospheres. Specific conditions that appear throughout the galaxy. But humans? We're different. Earth is a low-gravity world with a unique atmospheric composition. It's an anomaly. Gravity world. 10-2. She pulled up another display. "Look at this. Human DNA has sequences that don't appear in any other species. Junk DNA, we called it. But it's not junk. These sequences contain mathematical patterns that match the symbols on the artifact." The room erupted in argument. The Vrin researcher accused Hana of fabricating data. The Taluk representative wanted independent verification. A Morphean ambassador suggested that this was all a human trick to gain power. But Do-hyun silenced them all with a single word. Earth. He projected an image of humanity's homeworld. "The artifact gave us coordinates when it activated. We ran them through every database. They point to a planet that existed 2.3 billion years ago. Same location as Earth's current position. Same orbital pattern. The environmental data matches perfectly." "That's impossible," the Vrin researcher said. "No civilization exists that long ago." "The architects did," Minho said quietly. "And somehow, we're related to them." More tests followed. They analyzed Minho's DNA. They compared it to other humans, to aliens, to the artifact's patterns. Every result pointed to the same impossible conclusion. Humans carried genetic markers that were billions of years old. Markers that matched the architect technology. "We're not sure how this happened," Hana told Minho privately one night. They stood on the observation deck, looking out at the artifact through the reinforced windows. Maybe the architects seeded Earth specifically. Maybe they evolved there, and some branch of their species stayed behind when the rest left. Either way, humans are their descendants. "So the artifact is looking for family," Minho said. "More than that. It's looking for someone who can unlock it. Someone with the right genetic key." Hana turned to look at him. "You," Minho. It's asking if you'll provide your bloodline because it needs your DNA to verify you're an architect descendant. And then what? Then it opens. And whatever the architects left inside becomes available to whoever has the key. The implications hit Minho like a physical blow. Every species in the galaxy will want access to that technology, or want to make sure humans never get it, Hana added grimly. As if summoning them with their words, alarms began blaring. Do-hyun's voice came over the intercom. All personnel to stations. We have incoming ships. They rushed to the command center. The screens showed multiple vessels dropping out of faster-than-light travel near the planet. Minho recognized the designs, Corvan warships. The Corvan Empire was one of the most militaristic powers in the galaxy. They're hailing us, a communications officer said. The screen flickered to show a Corvan commander, his reptilian features set in what might have been a smile. This is Commander Rask of the Corvan Imperial Fleet. We have come for the artifact. Surrender it immediately, or we will take it by force. This is a coalition archaeological site. Do-hyun responded calmly. You have no authority here. Do-hyun, 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 Do-hyun. Authority is irrelevant. Power is what matters. We know the artifact has awakened. We know it responds to the human. Give us the human and the artifact, and we will leave peacefully. Not happening, Do-hyun said flatly. Then you choose war. The screen went dark. Minho felt the blood drain from his face. They're going to attack because of me. No, Hana said firmly. They're going to attack because they want power they haven't earned. There's a difference. Do-hyun was already issuing orders. Raise shields. Power up all defensive systems. Get Dr. Kang to the secure bunker. But Minho shook his head. I need to go to the artifact. Absolutely not, Do-hyun said. If the Corvans get it, they'll either destroy it trying to open it, or they'll torture me until I open it for them. Either way, they win. But if I open it now, maybe there's something inside that can help us. We don't know what's inside, Hana protested. It could be dangerous. More dangerous than a Corvan fleet? Minho looked at Do-hyun. Commander. You know I'm right. Do-hyun stared at him for a long moment, then nodded slowly. I'll buy you as much time as I can. Hana, go with him. Everyone else. Battle stations. They ran through the corridors as the base shook with the first impacts of the Corvan attack. The defensive shields were holding, but everyone knew they wouldn't last long. The Corvan Empire hadn't built its reputation on giving up easily. When they reached the excavation site, the artifact was pulsing rapidly, as if sensing the violence above. Minho walked up to it, his heart pounding. Are you sure about this? Hana asked. No, Minho admitted. But I'm out of better ideas. He placed both hands on the artifact's surface. The blue light erupted immediately, wrapping around him. The voice returned, speaking directly into his mind. Bloodline verification required. And will you provide it? Minho thought about Earth, about humanity's place in the galaxy, about the chance that his people might be more than just the newest species struggling for respect. Yes, he said aloud. I will provide my bloodline. Show me what the architects left behind. The artifact opened. The artifact didn't just open. It transformed. The black sphere unfolded like a flower, its surface separating into geometric patterns that defied physics. Inside, a chamber glowed with soft golden light. Minho felt the artifact pulling a sample of his blood through his skin where his hands touched it. The process was painless but strange, like a gentle tugging sensation. Minho! Hana shouted, but her voice sounded distant. Everything went white. When Minho could see again, he was standing in the chamber. Except he wasn't really standing, his body was still outside, hands on the artifact. His consciousness had been pulled into the device. He was seeing through it, experiencing it directly. A figure appeared before him. It was a hologram of a woman, tall and graceful. with features that looked human, but somehow more refined. Her eyes held the weight of ages. "Greetings, child of Earth," she said in perfect Korean. "I am Isul, architect of the Third Concordance. If you are seeing this message, it means our bloodline survived. It means hope remains. Who are you?" Minho asked. "What are the architects?" Wah, 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 wah. The hologram smiled sadly. "We are your ancestors. 2 billion years ago, we were human. We lived on the world you now call Earth. We built a civilization that spanned dimensions. We learned to shape reality itself. But we made a terrible mistake." Images flashed around Minho. He saw magnificent cities floating in space, beings of light and matter working together, technology that made coalition science look like stone tools. And then he saw the darkness coming. "We tried to ascend to a higher plane of existence," Isul continued. "Some of us succeeded, but others, they became corrupted. They turned into something we call the Devourers, entities that feed on dimensional energy, consuming everything they touch. They destroyed our civilization, scattered us across time and space." "Why did you seed other worlds?" Minho asked. "Survival, hope, legacy. We scattered our DNA across thousands of planets, hoping some would survive, would evolve, would one day be ready to face what we could not. Earth was the last seed world. You are our final children." The artifact shook violently. Outside, Minho could hear explosions. The Korvan attack was intensifying. "The Devourers are returning," Isul said urgently. "They have been feeding in other dimensions, growing stronger. Soon they will reach this galaxy. You must prepare. You must unlock the network." "What network?" "We built vaults like this one, across the galaxy. 847 sites, each containing knowledge, technology, and weapons. Together, they form a network that can create a barrier to hold back the Devourers. But only our bloodline can activate them. Only you." Light flowed from the hologram into Minho's mind. It wasn't painful, but it was overwhelming. Information poured into his brain: star charts, technology specifications, languages, physics, mathematics. Centuries of knowledge compressed into seconds. "The network responds to human DNA?" Isul said. "Any human can interface with our technology, but it requires training, understanding. You are the first. You must be the bridge between your people and your inheritance." "I don't understand," Minho gasped. "You spoke to us. You asked us to wake. That simple act of faith, that moment of connection, it was enough. You are not special, because you are unique. Child, you are special because you tried." The chamber began to fade. Isul's image flickered. "Go now. Protect your people. Find the other vaults. The Devourers are coming, and only the Architect's children can stop them. Only you." Minho felt himself being pulled back to his body. The last thing he heard was Isul's voice, soft and sad. "I'm sorry we left you alone for so long. Be better than we were," he gasped as his consciousness snapped back into his body. The artifact was still open, but now he could see it clearly. Inside were crystalline databanks, energy cores, and what looked like weapons systems. But more importantly, he could feel the connection to the artifact. It was part of him now, responding to his thoughts. "Minho!" Hana grabbed his arm. "Are you okay?" Your eyes were glowing. "I'm fine. Better than fine. Hana, I know what this is. I know everything." Another explosion rocked the excavation site. The shields were failing. Through the artifact's sensors, Minho could feel the Corvan ships approaching, their weapons charging for a final strike. "We need to get to the bunker," Hana said. "No, I can stop them." "How?" Minho didn't answer. Instead, He reached out with his mind to the artifact's defense systems. They responded instantly. Weapons that had been dormant for billions of years came online. The artifact's surface rippled and reshaped itself, forming energy emitters that pointed at the sky. "What are you doing?" Hana asked, her eyes wide. "Protecting us." In orbit, the Corvan commander was preparing his final attack. The human base's shields were almost down. Victory was moments away. He gave the order to fire the killing blow. The planet's surface lit up with golden light. Energy beams shot from the artifact, not burning or destroying, but disabling. They touched each Corvan ship and shut down their engines, their weapons, their life support backup systems. The ships went dark, drifting harmlessly in space. The Corvans inside were unharmed but completely powerless. On the command deck, Commander Do-hyun stared at his screens in disbelief. "What just happened?" "Minho happened," Hana said with a shocked laugh. Down at the excavation site, Minho lowered his hands. The artifact's weapons powered down but remained ready. He could feel them waiting, ready to respond to his will. "How did you do that?" Hana asked. "The architects left instructions. Technology, knowledge. It's all in my head now." "And Hana?" He turned to look at her. "It's not just me. Any human can do this. We all carry the genetic key. We just need to learn how." "Are you saying all of humanity can control architect technology?" "Yes, we're their descendants. This is our inheritance." The implications of that statement had barely sunk in when Commander Do-hyun arrived, running down from the command center. He looked at the disabled Corvan fleet, then at Minho, then at the artifact. "Did you just single-handedly defeat an entire Corvan battle fleet?" he asked. "I didn't destroy them," Minho said. "I just turned them off. They'll drift until someone picks them up." "No one died. That might have been a mistake," Do-hyun said grimly. "When word of this spreads, every power in the galaxy will come here. Some to protect Earth, some to control it, and some to destroy it before humans become too powerful." He was right. Within hours, the first reports went out across the Galactic Coalition networks. A human had activated architect technology. Humans could control devices billions of years old. Humanity wasn't just another species anymore. They were the heirs to the greatest civilization the galaxy had ever known. Back on Earth, Chancellor Yuna Shin received the report in her office overlooking Seoul. She read it 3 times, then looked out at the city lights below. Somewhere out there, millions of humans lived their lives, not knowing that everything had just changed. "Get me the council," she told her aide. "And contact Dr. Kang. We need to talk about what happens next." On the archaeological site, Minho sat with Hana, looking at the artifact. It had closed again, returning to its sphere shape. But now he could feel it. It was alive in a way. Aware and waiting. "What did the architect tell you?" Hana asked. "I saw the hologram, but I couldn't hear what she said. She told me the Devourers are coming. That we need to find the other vaults and activate the network. That we're running out of time." "How much time?" Minho closed his eyes, accessing the information Isul had given him. 6 months. Maybe less. We need to move fast. "Then we'll move fast," Hana said simply. "Earth has been waiting to prove itself for 20 years. Now we have our chance." Above them, the stars shone brightly, unaware of the darkness moving between dimensions. Somewhere out there, the Devourers were coming. But the architect's children were finally awake. And they were not going to go quietly into the night. The news spread across the galaxy like wildfire. Within days, every major civilization knew the truth. Humans could control architect technology. The political landscape changed overnight. Earth became the center of attention. Some species offered friendship and protection. Others made thinly veiled threats. A few simply sent warships to human space and waited. Minho returned to Earth 3 weeks after activating the artifact. He arrived to find Seoul transformed into an armed fortress. Ships from a dozen different species orbited overhead. Some were allies. Some were not. All of them were watching. Chancellor Yuna Shin met him in a secure government building deep underground. She was a small woman with steel in her eyes, and she looked like she hadn't slept in days. "Dr. Kang," she said, shaking his hand. "You've caused quite a situation. I know. I'm sorry. Don't be. You've given humanity something we've never had before: leverage." She gestured to a holographic display showing the galaxy. "The coalition is fracturing. Half the member species want to protect Earth. The other half want to control us or eliminate the threat we represent." "What threat? We haven't attacked anyone." "You disabled an entire Corvan fleet without breaking a sweat. That's threat enough." Yuna pulled up more data. "We've identified 212 known architect sites within Coalition space. If humans can control all of them, we become the most powerful species in the galaxy overnight." Hana, who had arrived with Minho, leaned forward. "The architects didn't create these vaults for conquest. They created them to fight the Devourers. Try explaining that to species who see us as upstart primitives, suddenly wielding godlike power," Yuna said dryly. "We need to act carefully, which is why I'm approving your mission." "Mission?" Mingyu asked. "You, Dr. Park, and Commander Lee will travel to other architect sites and activate them. We need that network online before the Devourers arrive. But you'll have company. Coalition observers will travel with you, some friendly, some not." The mission began 2 days later. Their ship was called the Dawn Runner, a fast coalition vessel modified for long-range exploration. The crew was mixed humans, a few Talic engineers, and 2 Morphean diplomats. One of the Morpheans was named Taeyang. He had taken a human name and wore a form that looked almost human. He found Minho in the observation deck on their first day out. "You're wondering if you can trust me," Taeyang said without preamble. "Can I? I've been studying humanity for 10 years. I was there when your people first made contact with the Coalition. I watched you struggle to find your place among species who had been traveling the stars for millennia. And I've been waiting for this moment." "What moment?" Taeyang's form rippled slightly. "The moment when the architect's children finally came home. My people have known the truth for generations. We found architect texts that mentioned Earth, mentioned the last seed world. We've been protecting humanity without your knowledge. Why? Because the prophecy said you would be needed. When the Devourers return, only the Bloodline can stop them. My people are called the Inheritor's Shield. We've been waiting for you." Minho didn't know if he believed that. But Taeyang's help proved valuable. Their first destination was a vault on a desert world called Karam. When they arrived, they found they weren't alone. A group of religious fanatics had beaten them there. They called themselves the Covenant of the Void, and they worshipped the Devourers as gods. "The darkness cleanses." Their leader, a Vryn named Salmon, preached to her followers. "The Devourers will consume this corrupted reality and birth something pure. The humans must not be allowed to stop them." The Covenant attacked as Minho approached the vault. Energy weapons fired across the desert. Commander Do-hyun's security team fought back, but they were outnumbered. The fanatics were willing to die for their cause. "Get to the vault," Do-hyun shouted, laying down covering fire. "I'll hold them off." Minho and Hana ran across the burning sand. The vault was similar to the first artifact. A massive structure half buried in the desert, covered in symbols. Minho placed his hands on it and felt the now familiar connections snap into place. The vault opened. More knowledge flowed into his mind. Star charts. Updated. New coordinates appeared. This vault contained weapons. Real weapons designed to fight dimensional beings. He could feel the power humming through the ancient systems. But the battle wasn't going well. Do-hyun's team was falling back, and the fanatics were advancing. Salmon herself led the charge, her insectoid body moving with frightening speed. "We die for the darkness," she screamed. "No one needs to die," Minho said, but she didn't listen. He reached for the vault's defenses. But these were different from the first artifact. These were weapons meant to kill. He hesitated. Could he really use them? A blast of energy struck near Hana, throwing her to the ground. She didn't get up. Minho's hesitation vanished. He activated the weapons. The vault's defense systems came online with brutal efficiency. Energy beams struck the fanatics, not disabling them gently like he'd done with the Korvans, but stopping them permanently. It was over in seconds. The desert fell silent, except for the wind. Minho ran to Hana. She was alive, but badly burned. "Medic!" he screamed. As they carried Hana back to the ship, Do-hyun approached Minho. The commander's face was grim. "You did what you had to do. I killed them. They were trying to kill us." "There's a difference." Do-hyun paused. "But this won't be the last time. The Covenant is everywhere. They really believe the Devourers are gods. They'll keep attacking. Over the next 3 months, they traveled to 12 different vaults. Each time, they encountered resistance. Sometimes, it was the Covenant. Sometimes, it was pirates hoping to steal architect technology. Once, it was a Corvan task force determined to claim a vault for their empire. With each vault, Minho's connection to the network grew stronger. He could feel the other sites across the galaxy, sense their presence like distant lights in his mind. But he also felt the exhaustion. The knowledge was overwhelming. Sometimes he had dreams in languages that didn't exist anymore. Memories of people who died billions of years ago. Hana recovered from her injuries, but she was changed. She'd come close to death, and it had focused her. "We're running out of time," she told Minho. "I've been analyzing the data from the vaults. The Devourers aren't just coming, they're already here. At the edge of the galaxy, star systems are going dark, just disappearing. How long do we have? Weeks. Maybe a month, if we're lucky. We need to activate the Master Nexus. It's the hub that controls the entire network." Finding the Master Nexus became their priority. According to the architect records, it was hidden in a dying star system at the galaxy's core, a place called the Burning Heart. They were 3 days from reaching it when they received a distress call. Commander Do-hyun's homeworld was under attack, not from aliens from the Covenant. The fanatics had launched a coordinated strike on human colonies, hoping to weaken Earth before the final confrontation. Do-hyun stood on the bridge, listening to the reports. His hands were shaking. "My family is down there." Minho looked at the star charts. They could go back, help with the defense, but that would delay them. The Nexus was close. They were so close. "We have to keep going," Hana said quietly. "If we don't activate the Nexus, it won't matter if we save one world. The Devourers will take them all." Do-hyun closed his eyes. "I know. He took a deep breath. "Go. Get to the Nexus. I'll stay here and coordinate with the defense forces." "Commander," Mingyu started. "That's an order, Doctor. Finish this. Make it mean something." They left Do-hyun behind, with a small security team and a promise to return, as their ship jumped to faster-than-light speed. Minho watched the commander standing alone on the observation deck, staring at the stars toward his home. When they reached the Burning Heart system, sensors detected something at the edge of the galaxy. Something massive. Something hungry. The Devourers had arrived early, and they were already consuming the outer rim of the galaxy, moving inward like a tide of darkness that nothing could stop. Time had just run out. The Burning Heart system was dying. The star at its center was collapsing, turning red and angry. Planets that once orbited it were now nothing but scorched rocks. And in the middle of this cosmic graveyard floated the Master Nexus. It was larger than any artifact Minho had seen before. A structure the size of a small moon, covered in the same flowing symbols, glowing with power that had waited billions of years to be used. "That's it," Hana breathed. "That's what will save us." Their ship approached slowly. Sensors were picking up readings that made no sense. The Nexus wasn't just in normal space, it existed in multiple dimensions at once. Looking at it made Minho's eyes hurt. "We're receiving a transmission," the pilot said. Yuna's face appeared on the screen. She looked older than when Minho had last seen her. "Dr. Kang, I assume you've heard the news. About the Devourers?" "Yes. Then you know we don't have much time. The outer colonies are being evacuated. We're pulling everyone back to the core worlds. Every species in the coalition is doing the same." She paused. "We're also receiving reports from Commander Lee's world. The Covenant attack was repelled. But the commander didn't survive. He held the line until reinforcements arrived. Saved thousands of people. 2. Minho felt like he'd been punched. Do-hyun was dead. The man who had protected them, who had become a friend, was gone. "Make it count," Yuna said softly. That's what he would want. Make his sacrifice count. The transmission ended. Minho sat in silence, feeling the weight of everyone who had died to get them here. Do-hyun, the researchers on Karam, soldiers and civilians across the galaxy, all of them counting on him to finish what the architects started. "Let's go," he said finally. They took a shuttle to the Nexus's surface. As Minho stepped onto the ancient structure, he felt it respond to him immediately. The symbols lit up beneath his feet, creating a path that led toward the center. Hana and Taeyang followed him. The Morphean had been quiet since they learned about the Devourer's arrival. Now he spoke. "The prophecy my people kept said that the architect's children would need help. That they couldn't do this alone. What kind of help? The Nexus requires multiple consciousnesses to function at full power. One person, even one as connected as you, isn't enough. It needs many minds working together." They reached the center of the Nexus. A chamber opened, revealing a crystal platform surrounded by connection points. Minho understood immediately. This was where he needed to be, where he needed to link himself to the network permanently. "If I do this," he said slowly, "I'll be trapped here, won't I?" Hana checked the architect texts they'd collected. Her face went pale. "Yes. The Nexus needs a living anchor. Someone to maintain the dimensional barrier. Minho, you'd be stuck here forever, keeping the Devourers out. Then I'll do it." "No." Hana's voice was firm. "There has to be another way. The architects wouldn't create a system that requires eternal sacrifice." Taeyang stepped forward. "She's right. Look at the texts more carefully. It says the Nexus needs multiple consciousnesses. Not one person forever, but many people sharing the burden." They studied the instructions together. Slowly, a new understanding emerged. The Nexus could distribute the load across hundreds, even thousands of people. Each person would connect for a period of time, then be relieved by others. A rotating shield of human consciousness maintaining the barrier. "We need volunteers," Minho said. "People willing to link their minds to this system and hold back the darkness." "You'll have them," came a new voice. Chancellor Yuna appeared on a holographic display. Behind her, Minho could see thousands of people. "We've been broadcasting your mission across Earth. Everyone knows what's at stake. And we have volunteers. Hundreds of thousands of them. Scientists, soldiers, civilians, all willing to do their part." Minho felt tears in his eyes. "You don't have to." "Yes, we do. This is what humanity does. When we're faced with impossible odds, we don't give up. We don't run. We stand together, and we fight." Yuna smiled. We do 7. We non. Commander Lee taught me that. He said humans are stubborn. That we never learned when to quit. So we're not quitting now." The plan came together quickly. Ships from Earth and the human colonies began arriving, carrying volunteers. They came from every walk of life. Teachers and engineers, parents and children, each one ready to link their mind to the Nexus and hold the line. Meanwhile, at the edge of the galaxy, the Coalition fleet gathered. Every species sent ships, even the Corvans. Putting aside their pride, to face the greater threat. They couldn't stop the Devourers, but they could buy time for Minho to activate the barrier. Minho was the first to connect. He stepped onto the crystal platform and felt the Nexus pull his consciousness in. It was like diving into an ocean of light. He could see everything, all the vaults across the galaxy, all the architect technology coming online, and most importantly, the dimensional frequencies that would create the barrier. But he could also see the Devourers. They were monstrous things, beings that existed between dimensions, feeding on the energy of reality itself. They were getting closer, consuming star systems, erasing entire civilizations. Then the volunteers began connecting. One by one, then dozens, then hundreds. Minho felt their minds joining with his, felt their strength adding to the network. They were all different backgrounds, different languages, different lives, but they were united in purpose. Together, they activated the barrier. Light erupted from the Master Nexus and spread across the galaxy like a wave. It touched each vault, each artifact, linking them all into one vast network. At the galaxy's edge, the dimensional barrier formed a wall of pure energy that resonated with human DNA, creating a frequency the Devourers couldn't pass through. The monsters slammed against it and recoiled. For the first time in billions of years, they were stopped. In the physical world, Hana watched the holographic displays in awe. It's working. The barrier is holding. Taeyang nodded. The architect's children have come home. The battle wasn't over. The Devourers kept testing the barrier, searching for weaknesses, and the volunteers had to maintain it constantly, their consciousnesses taking shifts to prevent exhaustion. It was hard work, tiring, and sometimes frightening, but they persisted. Days turned to weeks. The barrier held. Slowly, the coalition began to adapt to the new reality. Humanity had saved the galaxy, but they hadn't conquered it. Instead, they chose to share the architect knowledge freely, helping all species advance together. Chancellor Yuna established a new galactic council where every species had an equal voice. The architect vaults became universities where anyone could learn, and the humans who maintained the barrier became honored guardians, rotating through the Nexus in shifts, each one proudly doing their duty. 5 years later, Minho took a break from his Nexus rotation. He'd learned to leave the network for short periods, letting other volunteers maintain it. He traveled back to the archaeological site where everything had started, where the first artifact still sat, dormant, on that dead planet. Hana met him there. She was leading a new research team, studying architect texts, and teaching others how to read them. "You came back," she said, hugging him. "I needed to see it again. The place where this all began." They walked to the artifact together. Minho placed his hand on its surface, remembering the night he'd made a joke and changed the galaxy forever. "Do you regret it?" Hana asked. "Everything that happened?" Minho thought about Do-hyun's sacrifice, about the volunteers who spent their lives maintaining the barrier, about the responsibility humanity now carried. "No," he said finally. "We lost people. We carry a heavy burden. But we also proved something important. We proved that when faced with impossible odds, humanity doesn't break. We don't give up. We stand together, and we endure." "Very philosophical," Hana teased. 5 years of merging my consciousness with ancient alien technology will do that to you." They laughed. Above them, the stars shone peacefully. The barrier held. The Devourers remained locked outside. And humanity, the youngest species in the galaxy, had become its guardians. "So what's next?" Hana asked. "We've saved the galaxy. Where do we go from here?" Minho smiled and looked up at the stars. "The architects left us more than just defenses. They left us star maps. Maps to other galaxies, other dimensions. Places they explored before the Devourers came. Are you suggesting we go exploring? Why not? We've earned a little adventure." Hana grinned. "Then let's go meet the neighbors. And somewhere in the Nexus, carried on quantum signals across billions of miles. The volunteers maintaining the barrier felt Minho's joy and shared it. Humanity had come home. The architect's children had finally found their place among the stars, not as conquerors, not as victims, but as guardians, explorers, and friends to all who called the galaxy home. The awakening was complete.